Hello and welcome back everybody to Miss Kelly's Book Talk. Woohoo! Woohoo! They let me come back on. Woo! 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 I'm so excited. Okay, so last week we talked about Diary of a Wimpy Kid read-alikes, and this week I thought we'd talk about animal fantasy books. So I have 3 different animal fantasy books for us to try today. I hadn't read any before we started quarantine many moons ago and decided, hey, so many kids really like this, I'll give it a try. So I decided to read the 3 that I see the most coming in and out of the library. So something to keep in mind with these books though is that 2 of them are incredibly intense and a little violent. So if you are sensitive to that nature, might not be the best fit for you. However, the first one is definitely fit for everybody. So without further ado, let's get started. The first pick of Miss Kelly's Book Talk for Animal Fantasy is Upside Down Magic. Okay. So, in the world of Upside Down Magic, there are 5 kinds of magic users. There are flares, people that can control fire, fuzzies, people that can control animals, think like Cinderella and her mice. There are flickers, people that can turn themselves invisible, flyers that have the ability to fly, and fluxers. They have the ability to turn themselves into different animals. So our main character, Nori Horace, is a fluxer, which means that she can turn into animals. Woo! All right, the problem is her magic is upside down, which means that whenever she tries to turn into an animal, something goes wrong. So in her case, she turns into a hybrid of different animals. So for example, at the beginning of the book, she wants to turn into a kitten because that is the way that she's going to get accepted into her father's academy, Sage Academy, most prestigious of all magic schools. But the only way to do that is to be turned into the perfect kitten, not a trace of other animals to be found. Her problem is she can't help but accidentally slip a little bit of beaver in there, so she turned it into something called a bitten, like a cat, but with the tail of a beaver and the urge to make a dam, and she totally tears up her father's office, and it's a whole mess. So, needless to say, she doesn't pass the test to get into Sage Academy and has to go to a new school with new people where she learns how to, in theory, control her upside down magic. However, she's not convinced that this is going to work. I mean, this crazy teacher has them doing things like yoga and standing upside down on their heads and drawing their feelings. How in the world is that going to help her learn how to turn into a perfect kitten and get back to her dad's school? So she comes up with a plan. She just has to convince the principal of her academy that she's perfectly fine. No, she doesn't turn into a mix of 2 animals anymore at all. It's totally great. And while she's trying to convince the principal that she's totally fine and absolutely everything is perfect and her upside down magic has been cured, she has to deal with school bullies that don't like the fact that upside down students are in their halls, and she has to learn how to navigate new friendships with all the other kids in her upside down magic class, like the kid that can, instead of using fire, uses ice, or the girl that instead of using animal magic to bring all the animals together and work together, she scares them away, which isn't really helpful when you turn into an animal yourself. So what's going to happen to Nori Horace? Is she going to be able to control her magic? Is she going to be able to leave this public school and go back to Sage Academy where she feels that she belongs with her family? You're going to have to read on to find out. I loved this one so much. I actually went and I read the sequel. It is a series, so there's more than the one. I highly recommend it to anybody, whether you like animals, whether you like fantasy, whether you like just stories about day-to-day life at school. It's delightful. Mwah! All right, so I give Upside Down Magic, let's say 5 out of 5 magical bittens. All right, so something to keep in mind with Upside Down Magic is not only is it available on Hoopla and Libby, it is also going to be turned into a Disney Channel original TV series here in the next little bit. So we got to keep an eye out for that because I, for one, am very interested to see what they end up doing with the material. All right, so that is it for my first pick. If you are sensitive to violence or any talk about death or blood or any of that, feel free to click away now. I totally understand. I will see you guys next time. If you're okay with a little bit of action and adventure and are willing to give it a shot, stick around because our next book is from the series Wings of Fire. So I've got my little dragon friend here to help me talk about this next book. The next one is the first book in the Wings of Fire series called The Dragonite Prophecy. This book is part of a series that is so popular, not a day goes by that I do not see somebody check one of these books out. I'm really impressed. So when I finally got the chance to read it, I was super excited and I was not disappointed at all. So imagine, if you will, a world where dragons are the new dominant species. Humans, we're lower on the rung. We're not important anymore. We don't run the world. And these dragons, well, they're not doing so hot right now, pun intended. They are at war with one another. There's 5 different clans and they're all infighting for power. And there's a prophecy called, the Dragonite Prophecy, about 5 little dragons that will come and they will grow up to save all the dragons fighting in the war right now. So everyone holds on to that hope within their hearts. But only the group, the Talons of Peace, are willing to actually do something about it. So what they do is they kidnap 5 little baby dragon eggs and they raise them in a cave to become the warriors that they believe that they have been prophesied to become. Now, our 5 little dragons, I have to look at the names because there's a lot of them. Okay, so we've got Clay, Sunny, Tsunami, Glory, and Nightwing. They're not so thrilled about being locked up in a cave and raised to fight and save the world. They just want to go home and find their families. So they decide to do a good old-fashioned jailbreak, get out of there, and try to find their homes. So will they succeed in finding their families, or will they inevitably succumb to the destiny that has been thrust upon them to save all of dragonkind? You guys know the drill. You're going to have to read it to find out. Now, if you're listening to this and you're kind of like, I'm not so sure, I don't know if I want to give this a try, don't worry. We got a program coming up that'll be perfect for you. So Mr. Kevin has this program called First Chapter Thursdays. So next week he's going to be reading the first chapter from the Dragonite Prophecy. So don't miss out. You're definitely going to want to try this one. I loved it. Okay, so check it out on our Facebook page. You don't want to miss it. This one is available on Hoopla and on Libby, and I give it 5 out of 5 baby dragons. So cute. Alrighty, so if you aren't into dragons, don't worry, this next book does not have any dragons. Just lots and lots and lots of cats. So many cats. Oh my goodness. So the next one is called the Warrior series, and this first book is Into the Wild. So Rusty is a house cat that, he's okay with being a house cat, but just he can't help but shake the feeling that he's destined for something greater, something more. He has dreams at night of trekking through the woods and hunting for prey and fighting and just the feeling of being free and really alive. But none of his other house cat friends really understand him. Little does Rusty know, just in the woods behind his house are, guess what? just like the last one, a whole bunch of clans of cats that are, you guessed it, infighting for territory and for prey, because suddenly there's been a whole lot less prey and everyone's hungry and there's a lack of warriors to go out there and hunt for food. So, the 4 clans, the Thunder Clan, the River Clan, the Wind Clan, and the Shadow Clan are all in a lot of trouble. So they need new warriors. They're not having enough kittens to create them. So what are they going to do? It just so happens that a potential warrior is living, right outside their woods. Could he be the one to fulfill the prophecy that fire alone will save the Thunder Clan? I mean, his fur's red. Gotta count for something. And holy cow, was this book intense. It starts with a battle scene. It starts with blood and with violence and with a death. There are intense battles with actual real-life consequences. There's political intrigue. There's betrayals and redemptions and undercover agents, and it's a ride. Be prepared for a ride. If you enjoyed this book and want more, do not worry. It is the first in about 60 books in a series. Yeah. That series is so popular. It's gone on since, I was a kid. Really popular. Now, if the premise itself sounds kind of exciting, but you're like, cats, not my thing, don't worry, my friend. Not only do they have cats, they have book series on lions and dogs and bears. Oh my. I give Into the Wild 3 out of 5 warrior cats. Okay, library friends, that is it for this week's Miss Kelly's Book Talk. I hope that you enjoyed listening to me babble about some of my favorite books from quarantine, and I hope that some of these sounded interesting to you. Again, I know that not all of them might be everyone's cup of tea, but I do think they're worth checking out just because of how popular and enduring, especially that last one, are. So, again, these are all available on Hoopla or Libby, and they're also available at the library for curbside pickup. Don't forget that that is an option. We would love to see you there. Oh, and another thing before I forget is, since you're going to be doing all this reading all these books that I'm talking to you about, because you're definitely going to read what I'm recommending, right? Right? So, we're still doing summer reading this year, friends. Yes, I know it's weird because we're all at home and it's not like you can come into the library and get a reading log. Guess what? We're doing it virtually this year. So go onto the library's website, sign up through Beanstack, and start reading books and doing different activities themed around, themes. So animals, you got travel, you got nature, all these different activities that you can do mixed with reading whatever books float your boat. And the best part of it all is that you get entered in to win some fabulous prizes. You'll have to go onto the website to find out what some of them are, but just know that I am incredibly jealous of all of you that have a chance to win some of these. Okay, once again, so check out the books on either Hoopla or Libby or from the library at either location, and please check out summer reading. We would love to have more participants and spread the love. With that being said, this is Miss Kelly's Book Talk, or Book Talk with Miss Kelly. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's quarantine. Who cares? I will see you guys next time. Hope that you have a lovely Wednesday.